The WNBA is facing a crisis, and it's one that's been brewing for some time. The league, which should be a beacon of professional women's sports, is instead mired in controversy, incompetence, and a troubling culture of entitlement. How did we get here, and what does this mean for the future of the league? Let's break it down piece by piece and ask some tough questions along the way. Let's start with a recent incident that's emblematic of the league's broader issues. During a game between the Seattle Storm and the Indiana Fever, Seattle's coach and a few players crossed the court to confront Indiana's coach. Chris decides, while the game was still in progress. Imagine this happening in the NBA or any other professional sports league. What do you think the reaction would be? Immediate ejections, fines, suspensions. There would be consequences. But in the WNBA, this kind of behavior went unchecked. The referees, who should have stepped in and restored order, did nothing. Why is this level of unprofessionalism tolerated in a league that's supposed to be at the forefront of women's sports? Where is the accountability? This incident is not an isolated one. It points to a larger culture of entitlement and immaturity that seems to be taking root within the league. For instance, Skylar Diggins-Smith, a well-known player, deliberately bumped into Caitlin Clark during a game. The referees, once again, did nothing. No foul was called, no technical issued. Now, contrast this with what happened to Caitlin Clark in that same game. After missing a shot, Clark slapped the backboard in frustration. No interaction with an opponent, no aggression toward anyone else, just a moment of self-directed anger. And what was the result? She was hit with a technical foul. How can fans or players respect the officiating when the rules are applied so inconsistently? Does this double standard make you question the integrity of the game? But let's not stop there. The WNBA's issues extend beyond the court and into the very management of the league itself. A glaring example of this incompetence was on display in the same game when confusion erupted over whether Caitlin Clark had broken the rookie assist record. Different sources reported different numbers, leaving everyone, fans, players, and commentators alike confused. How can a professional sports league not have a handle on such basic statistics? It's almost unthinkable. What does this say about the league's ability to manage its own operations? If the WNBA can't keep track of something as straightforward as a record-breaking performance, how can it expect to be taken seriously by fans and sponsors? All of these issues, the lack of accountability, the inconsistency in officiating, the operational incompetence, point to a much deeper problem within the WNBA, a pervasive culture of entitlement and unprofessionalism. From the top executives down to the players, there seems to be a sense that the usual rules don't apply. This is a league that has been around for nearly 30 years, and yet it still struggles to enforce basic standards of conduct and professionalism. How did we get to this point? Is it possible that the league has been coddled for too long, shielded from the kind of scrutiny that other professional sports leagues face? Could this lack of criticism and accountability be contributing to the problems we're seeing now? And then there's the question of the league's future. The WNBA has long struggled to attract and retain a substantial fan base. The product on the court, while featuring some incredible talent, often gets overshadowed by the league's off-court issues. If the WNBA continues down this path, what does its future look like? Can it survive in its current form, or is a major overhaul needed? Some might argue that the NBA, which subsidizes the WNBA, needs to step in and take drastic action. But what would that look like? A complete management shakeup? Stricter enforcement of league rules? More stringent standards for player conduct? Would these changes be enough to save the league, or is it too late? These are tough questions, and they're not easy to answer. But they're necessary if the WNBA is going to turn things around. There's no doubt that the league has the potential to be great. The talent is there and the demand for women's sports is growing. But potential alone isn't enough. The league needs to clean up its act, starting at the top with the commissioner and moving all the way down to the players on the court. The WNBA needs to enforce its rules consistently hold everyone accountable for their actions, and manage its operations with the professionalism that fans expect from a major sports league. Could this mean cleaning house? It might. The NBA might need to consider a complete overhaul of the WNBA's management structure, bringing in new leadership that can instill a culture of accountability and professionalism. And what about the players? Should the league take a harder stance on player conduct, imposing stricter penalties for unsportsmanlike behavior? Would these measures be enough to restore the WNBA's credibility, or is the damage already done? Or is it time to consider a more radical solution? Perhaps the league, as it stands, is beyond saving. Should we tear it down and start from scratch, building a new league that can better represent the best of women's basketball? This wouldn't be without precedent. Other sports leagues have faced similar challenges and come out stronger on the other side. The world of professional soccer in the US, for example, went through several iterations before finding stability and success. Could a similar approach work for women's basketball? These are difficult but essential conversations that need to happen if the WNBA is going to survive and thrive. What do you think? Can the league be saved with some serious changes? Or is it time to start over? What would you do if you were in charge? Let's hear your thoughts because the future of the WNBA depends on getting this right.